Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, GB. Another episode of Upper 90 Plus. Monday, after the weekend, and after today's match completes the first weekend of EPL back in season. So excited this evening to have on a good friend of mine, Cam, who is joining us tonight. Cam, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Great. I'm great. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for being aboard and making the time for us this evening. Just wanted to just touch base over the weekend, watching football. We're just gonna chop it up here and talk about some matches, and then we're gonna get into some other things. And both of us, of course, heavy Arsenal fans, and you being the main planner here in the Orlando area, we really appreciate you coming on and making some time for us, man.
Of course.
All right, so of course we'll start off with the Invincible Gunners first. Let's talk about the match, man. How did you feel about the match? Talk to me. How did you feel?
Whew. Well, coming off last week, already two important wins, on the belt. So I feel really good. I think that there's definitely some takeaway, some sadness, but overall I feel really, really good about the win. Ultimately that's really what it's all about. Just need a few more in a row, and hopefully it's gold again. But for the most part, I think it was a really good match. I obviously 10-0 would have been probably the best when everything
Yes.
but we're still figuring out a lot of different components. We're still trying a lot of new things. There's a lot of new players and new additions that have been brought on. And I really feel that ultimately with new tactics and new play, I couldn't be more pleased.
Excellent. And then of course, both of us were up at the Supporters Club. Shout out to the Orlando Gooners out there checking out the telecast. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are good. Man, all I know is I had to come back home and take a nap, man. I got too excited up there, man. My energy was burnt out. I had to take a nap when I got home. I'm not even going to sit here and try and hide it. My wife was like, "Oh, you really did it up this morning?" I was like, "Yes, we did." But with that being said,
that was an early one.
What do you think about the new players on the team now, as far as them coming into the fold? Let's talk about Kai Havertz first. How do you feel about his role compared to being with us, compared to the role that he was with the Blues?
Wow, that's what a player to start with. I don't know. I'm mixed on this one. I'm going to give him, for starters, the benefit of the doubt, and I want to see him get a decent amount of play time under us to learn who we are, our style, and everything like that, and improve. I want to see the player that he was prior to going to Chelsea, because I know, like most of us, when he was on the market back then, I wanted him so bad. I would have died to have him. And I was gutted, when he went to Chelsea. Obviously, because he went to Chelsea, I was even more upset with the situation, because I don't ever want to see them, ever get better. But I am hopeful, which is why I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, that that's who we are going to get. He clearly was played out of position when he was with Chelsea and tried to be put into a format that really wasn't meant for him. And I feel that there's been some times and elements we've seen so far, glimpses of that. But we have to be patient.
Yes.
Okay, we're getting a brand new player. He's fitting into our style. We're asking him to play the way he was meant to, but at the same time, the way we play. And I think there's going to be a lot of learning curve. And we are one of the most difficult clubs, I would say, to please. We are very easy to be at you, but very easy also to support you. I know I'm one of those people. So I think that with some time, I think he's going to be really good. Of course, every time he misses a play or misses anything like that, we're screaming for his head. But he had some really good glimpses. Obviously, there was one goal or one shot, I believe it was the second, that I was definitely yelling, like, how did you miss that?
Right.
Who is this man? Pull the shot. And he's definitely a confidence player. Without a doubt. He is definitely a confidence player. And because of that, we're going to have to really be behind him as fans to, give him that confidence. But I feel like once he gets that first goal, I think it's just going to be incredible.
Yes. Yeah. I think he's going to be in the same mold as Trossard. Like you stated, with the first goal, his assists are going to start happening. And I didn't realize that he is the tallest player on the team.
Well, he's quite lanky, isn't he?
I did not know that. I knew he was. Yeah, I knew he was lanky, but I didn't know that he was 6'5". I mean, Gabriel is 6'4", Saliba's 6'4", and he's standing next to them. And the article said he's now the tallest player on Arsenal. I was like, wait a minute, really? So to have that kind of height in the midfield, along with the new boys as well, that's a pretty good, nice advantage for us as well. How do you feel about his positioning?
And I think that's great. And one of the things I want to see with that being the situation now is that when teams are going to collapse on us.
Yes.
And I want us to stop doing low crosses and get back into the high cross, like when we had Giroud. Obviously, Giroud is our striker, so it's a little bit of a different running cross. But when we're making those chances, because we brought in Declan Rice, because we still have Partey, I want to see Havertz make a run in and have a high ball cross because he's an aerial threat. He needs to be knocking in that. I want to see him do that. And if we do that, I think we'll have a lot more headers and it would definitely be great on the score sheets. I didn't see too much of that in this game. I'm not really sure if that's the strategy. I'll leave it up to the gaffer on that one. But I really think that's how we should be using him a little bit more, especially on set pieces. Seemed we felt a little bit short on the set pieces with considering that we have him, we have Saliba. I'm not really sure how we're not winning a bit more of those.
Right. Definitely. All right, so next on the list, let's talk about Rice, Baby.
Yeah, I love that song you started playing out of nowhere.
You like that one?
I said, I turned around.
Rice, Baby.
Especially him rapping too.
Yeah. I mean, you made a good point though about these players are new. They're coming into a brand new, and I'm not necessarily going to say system, but it's as Declan as Rice said, I totally see the game a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a person right now that I have to train myself. January, then I'll be looking for them to really hone in because they've had a half a season to really get it together. I'm looking for a speedier build-up pace-wise as learning curve because they are the caliber of money that we paid for them. That their learning curve should be a lot faster. But I'm gonna really be hard on them in January now to say, okay, you had a half a season. Let's make something happen. But back to Rice. What do you think about Rice? Worth the money? First of all, worth the money.
100%.
Yes, I agree.
100%. And I'm super biased on this, mind you.
Yeah, you invested in him as well, huh? Yeah, I know.
I don't think you heard this comment I made on Saturday, but at one point I was really getting in my bag. He made a pass to Saka that was incredible, and I'm just like, "We're getting it for Arsenal. He's practicing for England. Let's just go. I'm all on board. 100 million for them just to get in that sync for both sides.
Yes. Fantastic.
But, I do think he's worth 100 mil. It's very expensive, regardless. I think that's a heavy thing to kind of go into. But the caliber of player that we're getting him in a prime. He's Premier League proven. He's coming off a silverware win. He not only is a captain. I think he's going to be a captain presence for our team. Obviously, Odegaard will always be our captain, but I think his presence is going to be very commanding on the back, and I think that's going to be really good moving forward. But I love him. He had some great shots, great attempts. I was watching his passes. I think he was. I'd have to look up statistics, but I want to say he was 92% plus pass completed percentage. And that's exactly what we need. I mean, the chances were there. And then we're still figuring out his positioning and all that, but his speed his speed tracking back is
especially the one on the left. Yeah, especially that one. Yes.
He's going to be just, I'm excited once this is clicking. Like, we cannot stress how much, to your point about January, but once this clicks, we're seeing glimpses of it. And I saw it, in this one. He hasn't had a ton of playing time with us, when you think about when he brought on him, but you saw a little bit of it against City. Definitely saw it Saturday, and I think it's going to be amazing. He's worth every bit of the money.
Oh yes. So do you think that he or Havertz will fill in that Xhaka role, like you said, with that run going forward? I'm thinking Havertz might be the one to do that more than him. What do you think? Or think they might just rotate? What do you think?
Hard to say because we still have Party,
Yeah.
I think strategically, Havertz would be the guy to do that, especially just because of, again, the height and what he can do. But
okay.
I think, let's not forget who Arteta is and where he comes from and everything like that. He's a very, very fluid style of play. And he wants everyone to have multiple positions. So I would not be surprised if they were just playing a game where everyone is just completely rotating at all points.
Yes.
And that those two are just interchangeable in that regards. But on paper, I would say Havertz probably for that.
Okay.
That's a hard one.
I stumped you. Wow. All right. I did good already.
Yeah,
15 minutes in, and I already stumped you 15 minutes in.
I'm still sad that he's gone. So even just trying to talk about the, I missed him already.
Right when we figured out his role, is when he leaves. Unfortunately. So I'll go.
Talk about a roller coaster of a career with us, though.
That's true. But as far as interchangeability, you made a very good point. What I really was excited about was seeing Partey and Ben White switching. One might be center defender, the other one outside. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, when someone came down that attack on the side, then they might have switched roles and gone back to Ben White being outside, Partey center defender. And then when another attack came on down, they both switched again. So I really like you stated, the interchangeability. I like the fact that Partey has bought in to, listen, I'm not 22, 23 years old anymore, but man, I can play 3 or 4 positions. So let me be good at playing 3 or 4 positions instead of trying to just overplay myself. So I'm glad that he bought into that, because that's going to really help us, especially now we're going on to our next player, which I'm very sad news today. Mr. Jurrien Timber, another captain that we received, like Declan, who went down with injury, and now they're saying there's no timetable. So what do you think about his performance prior to the injury? What do you think about his game?
Oh, he's incredible. What a signing. What a player. And yet again, another player that's coming into us who is a fan of Arsenal prior to, which I always love. I think that brings a lot of passion. I think that brings a lot of a drive, because, you're obviously playing, but now you're playing with his heart. And I think it's always a big plus. But what a start to! Yes. I mean, out of everybody, honestly, we've had so far, of the 3, he's been the most impactful. I mean, he hit it day one to where, minus the injury, I mean, I honestly don't even think we would have to wait to January to really have an assessment on him. I mean, he's just come out and been incredible to where, obviously, we don't ever want to have any of our players injured, but his presence has been so impactful already that it's already like, whoa, it just feels like a really early blow.
It does. It does.
I mean, his vision and his balls, the passing that he has is incredible. Yes. And he's very fast, very physical. So I'm very, very impressed. And, even more, even though this was a very, very silly competition. It was kind of fun to watch the skills for the MLS thing, but even his
Yes.
contribution in the skills thing, I'm just sitting there like, is that Timber? What is he doing right now? It definitely got me a little bit more. And honestly, that was just a glimpse that we got to witness over the last 2 games that he got to do.
Right.
He's that guy. But, I think with the reports coming out today, that was definitely disheartening. The club is definitely taking a very long look at everything to make sure they have the biggest and best understanding.
Yes.
Hopefully it's nothing too long, but obviously we wish him a speedy recovery nonetheless. Yes. And it's definitely a bit scary because now we do have Champions League football, so
that's correct.
We're gonna have a very long season.
Very long season. Yes, sir.
So best we take as much caution on the front end to make sure he's 100% back, because even if he's out, maybe 3 months or so, I'd rather him come back 100% to when we're going to need him for all that than, to rush him back.
Right. Who else impressed you in the match on Saturday as far as making an impact in the game when they were on the pitch?
Well, obviously soccer. I mean, he can do no, but I can't believe I'm going to say this because I've been screaming for him to be sold. But Eddie.
Whoa! Oh, you're going to say it. Go ahead. I'm glad this is recorded, man. This is going to be staying. This is going to be staying on YouTube and all the video. Go ahead. I want to hear it. Go ahead. Let me come in over the question. Go ahead.
I'm going to get slapped for this. I know. Eddie just.
Who? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. Who?
That one guy.
Yes.
Look, I know I said this, and I'll say it again. I'm not a big fan of him. I feel like last year everyone kind of figured it out. Yeah, he stepped up massively, and he was, really huge for us with, Jesus' injury and all that. But I really feel like he's a poacher, and there's not really a whole lot. His work ethic, I'm never going to question that. He puts 120%. 110 is not even enough. 120% of what he does, and I love that. And you can't ask for more. I just feel like he just wasn't that guy, and he's just an all right player. But he showed me something in this game.
Yes.
We've always known he's got a great turn, and that's kind of what makes him a great poacher. But I remember looking at you when he scored that goal, and I just said, look, if that's what he's doing now, if that's the missing piece and that's how he's going to do it, I'm all for it.
Yes.
And that would make me really love him, and that's what really impressed me about him. I have to give credit to that goal. That's what we need from him. When Jesus isn't fit, if that's how he's going to be playing and shooting like that, then I'm for it. Because honestly, every time Jesus is out now, and I look at the lineup, I want Trossard. Yeah. I want Trossard up there. I want him playing. I want Martinelli as our center and Trossard out there. I think that's how it should go. I think it would work brilliantly, but Eddie looked good. Yeah. I hate to say it. He really stood out for me.
And I think also too, what helped him out the last couple of years though is actually working on his fitness and his build and his body shape. As far as getting a lot stronger, I think he might have looked at Saka, seeing how strong Saka has gotten on the ball. Mm-hmm. Because now I see him in that Saturday game, in that 18-yard box, he wasn't getting pushed off the ball. I think he took on 3 players, one time, and just had somebody blocked his shot, but he wasn't getting bounced off the ball like how he used to get bounced off the ball.
Oh, he's such a presence.
So, we'll see how he looks. Now, who do you think on the bench now? Who would you like to see coming off the bench that might not be getting a lot of playing time to kind of maybe prove themselves early in maybe a bottom table match? Who would you like to see first off to start?
I don't know if he needs much proving, right? Because we have a song about him. But I want to see more Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't think he necessarily needs to be proven. I want to see Smith Rowe. I miss him. I love that guy. He's incredible. I would love to see a lot more of him, and he's young enough that we could really change around what he does, but I want to see him come off the bench more. And I know why he wasn't here a whole lot last season, which is understandable.
Right, of course.
But
an injury, right.
If he's fit, this is the season I want to see a lot more of him, because honestly, unfortunately, if he is fit, and we have a lot more games for him to play.
Right.
But if he really doesn't do a whole lot, then I hate to say it, but maybe it's time to part ways. But I don't think we're there yet. But I really want to see a healthy Smith Rowe be coming off the bench, low level games, definitely maybe some of the beginning of the FA, things like that.
Tournament games that
group stage of the Champions League.
That's exactly what I was just getting ready to state. The group stage matches, because we always rotate the squad, and I'm thinking now we finally can do that, the rotation, as far as whoever proved themselves in those tournament games. Now you get the nod to start. Next, with his tournament that he had for England, I'm really hoping that, because it's, mum's the word right now, and I don't like when people are quiet, not talking about him. But I really hope that maybe he didn't strain it again, playing that long tournament, and he just is resting now, and we're getting him ready for the cup games. But I just really hope that we're really protecting him, and I know we are. So, as you just stated, I'm looking forward to the cup games, to see the new squad out there. I call him my Chris Muller, because Chris Muller and me were not really good friends with Orlando City. I always harped on him missing things and not really trying to trap back and things like that. My Chris Muller for Arsenal is Vieira. I wanted him sold this past season. Yes, he made the PK, whatever, what have you, but I think he's finally learning now that you can't just go out there and just be a forward playing player. You have to track back. There's no way around it. You cannot come to our team and not track back. So I saw him do that, in the preseason. I said, okay, now he knows if he wants playing time, you need to be both ways, So, but I'm gonna be riding him into the sunset this season, because I can't ride Eddie anymore. Eddie is where he needs to be in my mind. Now we just need
no. You can still ride him. Listen, I said that he impressed me this one match, but let's not get too carried away. But I agree with you completely about Vieira. He needs to play a lot more into our system.
Yeah,
for sure.
Be more unselfish. All right, so Arsenal, great match. We won the game. Let's talk about some other football. Actually, I'll just start with the table. I'll just go with the table. I'll just pick out a team. You let me know what you if you saw the game, or who was your man of the match for that game. Let's start with yesterday, Chelsea-Liverpool. I watched that game.
I watched it.
What do you think about I saw two styles of play that I really haven't seen from Liverpool or Chelsea last season or the season before. So I know they have all, new players fitting in and things like that, but it's interesting to see how the coaches are adapting players to go to their strengths, instead of back in the 80s, 90s, where it was play this way or you're off the pitch. But how do you feel about the match yesterday? What are your takes?
I think it was a very interesting match. We've got two top teams, are going to be always the two teams. These are two names that when you always talk about top six,
right,
they're always up there, right? Those were going into every season. So for them to start the season off, it was definitely a big match. There's a lot of new components. Chelsea's got a new manager, Ponch coming in.
Right.
Obviously, they I don't even know what to say about that club. They have they just keep buying people. I don't know what identity they're going with. I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to look at them as a sleeping giant, because they have so much. And if they figure it out, there'll definitely be a competition. But I don't really know what to think of them at the moment. Liverpool, I agree with you about that. You bring up 80s, 90s. That era of pool, wow.
Yes.
that was the Spice Boys. I mean,
yes.
But Liverpool. I don't want to. I don't want to wake a giant, but they kind of look old to me. They're still good. They're a threat. Don't get me wrong, but they don't scare me like they used to. And that's not just because we got better. They just kind of look old. I feel like, I feel like we can beat them. They don't really scare me too much. But it was definitely an interesting game. I believe Liverpool had one shot on goal.
Yes.
Going into the 60th or so minute, and the only shot was the one they scored. Yes,
you're correct.
And so when you think about that, it's like, wait a minute. Obviously, they scored, so I guess that's all that matters. I mean, honestly, that's it. But when you think about that, they really just didn't. They looked kind of bland. I really wasn't too blown away by them, which makes me just kind of think they're getting old. They're beatable. Chelsea are good though. I don't think they're bad. But I will say this: Man United's new keeper, he had a good debut. I think he's definitely. I can see why they brought him on. It's definitely early on into the season, but he's definitely going to be a presence. He's going to be a problem. He's good.
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely good, and I think that that saved them. I think if he hadn't been there, I think they would have been a lot more.
They would have got drubbed. They definitely.
Now I will say this: my man of the match, though. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to be mean. Mudryk. Mudryk was my man of the match.
Really?
Anytime that man doesn't do anything,
he's the man of the match.
He's the man of the match. I love him failing. I love watching him fail more than anything else.
Yes.
No, honestly, Chilwell. Chilwell was incredible. He was great. I mean, that's the
Chilwell that I've been waiting for, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. And then, I mean, like I was saying, Chelsea's, the keeper. He's really coming together. He's incredible. Their new boy up front.
I was just gonna say that's my man of the match, Nico Jackson, Mr. Senegal. Yeah.
So fast.
And like you said, he made Liverpool's back line come of age. Their age really showed.
And I said, Pool's keeper. I mean, he's good, and he really saved them on that one. But
yes,
if it wasn't for him, he would have been a bloodbath.
Right.
He's worth every penny, But I think it's gonna be a long season for Liverpool. But let's not forget they've got Klopp. They'll figure it out. They'll sort it.
Very true.
Very true. But it's gonna be interesting to watch.
I get a lot of emails about, how can Chelsea spend $350 million every season on players? And I told some of the folks in the email I would discuss, bring that up tonight as far as, how that happens as far as the fair play rules. Chelsea takes these players and, unlike Arsenal, we do 4 or 5 year contracts. We don't sign anyone really that over 30 years old to a major deal, or maybe even keep them around at 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But Chelsea stretches out the contract 7-8 years. That way, that money is gone over a longer progression of time, and right before it gets to the back end of the contract, the 5th, 6th year, where the money is starting to get heavier on the books. That's now when they sell the player. So the first 4 or 5 years, when the player's in their prime, those are the smallest fees up front that they're playing, that they're paying for that player on the books. So hence why they can have all of these, exquisite players. And I told a couple folks that, you have to look at the ownership as well. It's an American owner. American mindset is, I buy things for assets. And I'm here to make money. So some owners are there for the football as well, but some owners are just there to make a profit and keep it moving. Second, this owner likes to give the rift on other owners as well, and would rather spend all the money to take a player to make sure nobody else has that player, and then sit him on the bench. So it's going to be interesting now to see all these, individual players, because we discussed about styles of play. Chelsea doesn't have a style of play. They throw out individual players and say, "You guys figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
And now to let's see if there's going to be a rift these next couple of years now when it comes to playing time. Because when these folks aren't performing as starters, now do you take $150 million, $15 million man like Caicedo? Is he going to be sitting on the bench and not taking a center mid position because that gentleman just won a World Cup, or what's going to happen? So it's going to be very interesting to see that particular squad as far as the identity and what coach is going to do with them. So, Tuchel,
honestly, I can't believe they're still buying players.
Yeah,
I really can't. I just blows my mind every time I see the tabloid that they're in or they've signed or the "here we go" comes up.
Right.
I just literally sit there and go, okay, to what? To where? Who is being replaced? Why? You still trying to figure it out. I don't know. Someone needs to tell this man that FIFA is not real life.
So here's a question to end on that. What makes, in your mind, a $100 million player? Of course, you're looking at potential, right? But is it potential over impact now? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. There's two $100 million men that recently has gone. You've got Rice, who went to us, and then you've got Kane, who just went to Bayern.
Right.
Very, very different parts of their playing career. Different positions for one. I think that potential and ceiling has a lot to do with it. Okay. Where are you getting at them? Are you getting them in the prime? Are you hoping they're about to go in the prime? Are you already, what are you getting? What do you need them for?
Okay.
I'll be honest, I think Kane went for 100 is insane. I have no idea for the life of me why he went from that high. I would have pegged him for 70. I definitely think he's an expensive player, but the man's 30. I don't know. He's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he's gone. Of course, he went to Bayern, so we're going to see him in round 16. You already know it. Here we go. Calling that now.
Yes. There you go.
All the teams.
Right.
Definitely. Right. We're going to end up seeing him again, so we didn't get rid of him. But, but I think it's hard to say. But I think, with all the clubs and the owners who have been coming in, the pricing of players and the amount of money being thrown around has just made everything absolutely insane. You talk about the Saudi Arabian teams the clubs who are just now buying players from other clubs. Neymar, I'm pretty sure, is about to go as well. And it's just astronomical numbers. I mean, what was it? Mbappe was offered $700 million a year.
It was $3 billion total package. $3 billion.
I don't even know what to say to that. It's it's monopoly money. And it's also, in my opinion, just kind of ruining the beautiful sport we have. And it's making it harder for a lot of these things, just normal football, to take place because of these things. And now players are going, oh, well, he's out that. I'm as good as him. Why am I not getting this? And it's like, because then you look at like Caicedo. I know you brought him up earlier. He's going for 100 plus. Look, he's good. I'm not going to take anything away from his talent. I think that's too much money for that player.
Way too much. Way too much.
And so just to circle back to your question about what do you look at and what it makes, I think there's just a lot of, you got to look at everything as a whole package. There is a bit of player comparison, league comparison. You take a look at, I know I took a shot at Mudryk. That was very expensive, and I can't believe we were in it for as long as we were. But he's coming from a league that's not that proven, so of course he's going to look really well. But the ceiling on him is really high, so that's kind of where a lot of the price points goes into it. But at least Caicedo is coming from Brighton. He's proven. He's good. So when you talk about the Premier League being the best league in the world, it does definitely comes with a bit of extra price tag. Oh, you've got an English player. He's proven in that league, one of the toughest, best leagues in the world. Okay. Well, that just adds to the value, like right from the start. And I don't want, I know we kind of were talking, on the side about this, but like you look at Balogun, very young, very high potential and ceiling, just came off a really great year, but in the league, there's not much there. Of course you're going to shine. I love Lacazette, but Lacazette also looked really good, and he was terrible for us in the end. So it's like, it's hard to say.
He's got that home cooking, so he's back home at the home cooking. Got his friends and family around him a lot closer too as well.
Listen, he also had some hair at one point, and bald Laka was not very good for us, but when we had Laka with hair in the beginning, he was great.
Yeah, he was great. You're sure right about that.
Rob Holding with hair.
Very nice, very nice. So I wanted to touch base on about the rule changes as well for the EPL. Very interesting rule changes. One of the rule changes: players may now avoid a card despite committing a foul if the referee believes they made a deliberate attempt for the ball. So very, very interesting. Doesn't say here whether VAR is going to review it, but it's the referee will have the ability to change his mind on that. What do you feel about that? Because now I'm looking at the last man fault. Of course, someone's going to goal and that person gets taken out trying to play the ball. Is now a red card no longer going to be in existence for that player because he was trying to play the ball? What do you think?
I am a little scared about this one, to be honest with you. I kind of understand a little bit of where they were going with this.
Right.
So it makes sense, but I think that two things could happen. One, players now going to just go for it and then throw in that risk. Because let's not forget, these are world-class athletes. To where half a second, fourth of a second to us seems lightning. To them, slightly slower, So they're going to be able to do a little bit more and sell. But what really scares me, and this could be the Arsenal fan and the Mike Dean era in me, who's going to say this, but I think it's giving too much power to them. They already can just do whatever, but now they can go ahead and retract and be like, oh, well, yeah, they were going for it. So now when they obviously are always going to favor the cities, the Liverpools, and they always give us, like they always go against us. Now I feel like, and I hope this isn't the case, but now I'm just scared that they're going to go ahead and take away that yellow or that red because they're like, oh, yeah, it's City. Yeah. So we're just going to, So it's a little bit scary in that regards. But again, to circle back, I understand where they're going with this, but at the same time, wasn't that what VAR was also supposed to do? Weren't they supposed to, if they saw them going, give the card, review it, and then they can decide not to then? Like, was that not something they've always been able to do?
Right.
So why do we now need to make it a thing to almost empower? I don't know. It's this was interesting. Right. Very, very interesting to have been a fly on the wall when this was being decided,
Yes. And then I don't know if you saw the penalty kick, forget which game it was, where the keeper got in the face of the player, and the referee came over and gave him an immediate yellow card. And that is also a rule change. The rules determining punishment, goalkeepers cannot be in the face and distract an opposition player during a penalty shootout. So they can no longer come off the line, stand there, look at the player, back up, rah, rah, rah. That the goalkeeper will be given now an immediate yellow card. So that's a rule change.
I think there's one man to blame for this one.
Well, and that's exactly what I was just going to say. Emi Martinez.
Let's just go back to the finals of the World Cup.
Go back to the World Cup. There you go. There's no mention of dancing, throwing arms that numerous keepers have done. So it doesn't mention about that.
Yeah. He took it to an absolute another level.
Yes.
And I think that's a lot of why this is out.
Yes.
And I think it's good. I really do. If that's what the rule is for, truly, because of that, then I am 100% on board for it. If it's going to be yellow carded for just normal Yama, then, I don't want to see it. I'm going to put it this way. I don't want to see this abused.
Yes.
If it starts getting abused, then I'm going to have a huge, huge issue. Okay. But if it's for what I believe it was for, then I'm all for it.
Another rule, time wasting.
Oh, I love this one.
This is a fantastic one because referees will now issue an early warning. So this is no longer about the last couple minutes of the game. Instead, referees will now issue an early warning if they get the sense that a goalkeeper is wasting time. If they persist, the official will dish out a punishment shortly after. So now this is through the progression of the entire match, which is, I thought that's what should be happening. Not like the final 5 minutes. It should be a build-up. Just like a yellow card, and you're gone. It's a build-up. What do you think about that one?
Oh, I love it. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. When it's in our favor, of course, I want us to waste time. But I really do. I think it's huge. I think there's a lot of time wasting that the keepers do, right? We see it all the time. We're screaming for them to do it, especially at live matches. I think there should be more punishment in this regards. And I love that they're finally kind of doing something a little bit more. Let's see how much it's enforced. But I think it would definitely be a different change of pace for sure.
Yes. What are your takes on the extra time at the end of the match to actually state that you're playing a full 90 minutes?
Oh, the World Cup added time thing.
Well, it's just added time period because that's also a rule change now in the EPL. They're doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. But what I like about this rule, which I didn't know that was added to this rule, is prolonged goal celebrations are part of that time. Mm-hmm. Which makes total sense now because the entire team and subs are all jumping in and it's a 4 or 5 minute celebration. That makes sense now why there's 7 minutes at the end of the game, 8 minutes at the end of the match, because goal celebrations, substitutions, we already knew, and injury delays, but they added the goal celebration time now to the Women's World Cup as well. So the clock will be paused for when play stops until it resumes. So what do you think about that now? As far as the
I
goal
love it too.
celebration time, I think that's fantastic, huh? What do you think?
I do. I really do. Because at the end of the day, there's just a lot of time wasting in the game to the way it's become a tactic.
Right.
You know?
Yes. That's where I was going as well. Yeah.
I don't like it. You know, I want us to keep playing, keep going, and I don't. Obviously, I hope it doesn't bite us in the ass, you know. But I think it's good. You know, there's something to be said that like you're in the 80th minute, you finally get that 1-0, right, and your team is down. You know, hopefully we're never down, but you're in that situation. Of course, you, the scoring team, are going to go take a little bit extra, right? People are going to spill out. The subs, they're going to run towards the subs who are warming up on the side. They're now integrated. The fans are in it. You know, it's good that we're now going to, you know, keep everything moving, keep everything going. And I'm liking the longer stoppage time. I think it's great because there's all the other time wasting we've seen that's now making it go. And I was kind of watching a little bit more closely this weekend and all the games because of this, but I kind of felt like there wasn't as much time wasting now because now you're getting penalized for it.
Yes.
There's actual consequences to all of this. And now the players know. And I noticed that there's just a lot less of the shenanigans.
Yeah.
It felt good. It felt good.
Fourth officials getting abused. I love this rule, man. Most of the time we see 2 or 3 coaches on one side, 2 or 3 coaches on the other side, and they're bantering the fourth official, going back and forth, this and that. It says here now referees will have the power to respond at those angry bosses, mainly by issuing yellow and red cards and sending them to the stands during the match.
I hate it.
And, you know, I like the rule because back to the mentality of the game when your coach is trying to get you know, make a point to maybe build his team up and cause something, you know? And just like the players should be accountable, I think the coach should be accountable as well. That getting your players fired up, to me, that's at halftime. That's your halftime speech.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't disagree.
Do that then.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it in the pitch. And also, too, like you said, the beautiful game. You've got these kids watching. They're seeing a coach do that, jumping around with his head cut off, whatever, what have you. Now, don't get me wrong. Excitement after a goal like our boy Arteta does, different story. That's excitement. But the going after an official and things like that, now those kids go home and, you know, they're expecting their parents to do the same thing maybe at a match when they play. Because they saw our coach do that, or they saw it on TV. That, hey, it's okay to do that. Go yell at the officials. Then now they grow up and they're yelling at officials during the match when they're in their games, you know. So it's to me to knock this and nip this in the bud now. I like it. I like it. So what is your take? You say you don't like it. What's going on?
I don't like it. I don't like it for a few reasons.
Talk to me.
One, I don't think anyone yelled at the fourth official more than ours. I'm just if we look at last year, if that had been in there, I'm not sure how many matches Arteta would have been present for. Let's just be honest on that, and I think that's. I mean, I get it, right? At the end of the day, it's the fourth official isn't going to overturn something. So I kind of understand this is just this guy who's just kind of stuck being there, and he just kind of drew the short end of the stick, like he can't go anywhere. Right. That's where he's stuck. So he's definitely, I like that from the standpoint of we got to protect him, he's, you know, the abuse and all that. But like, I don't necessarily disagree with Arteta. You know, I'm just singling out him yelling at the fourth official because there's a lot of calls where when he's just like, how is that? And his antics and his passion that I think is going to definitely kind of get us in trouble a little bit. You know, to your thing, I don't know. When I was growing up and I was playing, I wasn't because of the coaches or anybody else was doing it, but I always yelled at the officials. I was hard-headed. It didn't really stop me one way or another, but it's just because I would feel just the injustice of it all.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's just I don't like this at all. I feel like we've already seen a yellow issued. And I don't like that they now stack. Those are going to be
stacking. Now you have 4 more left. You got 4 left before the suspension. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was,
it's 5. It's 5 yellows.
I thought it went down to 4.
Oh, is it down to 4 now? Okay.
I'm not sure. Now you get.
All right, we'll get back to the viewers. We'll get back to the viewers on that. Yeah. Let's figure that out. But they, like you said, they stack, and that's one after your very first match.
I like it from the standpoint of protect this poor man who just happens to be stuck next to a very passionate gaffer. But I don't like it because he also happened. I mean, listen, if Arteta could walk out and yell at the main one, he would, right? That man, is staying very far away. So perhaps we should just give Arteta a mic directly to the referee. Now we'll cut out the 4th man, right? We'll remove him from the whole equation.
And now to stay with that, with the 4th man and the referee, again, they're cutting down, of course, on the coaching staff coming into the box like how they used to, encroaching in the box. And it's I saw it happen in a couple of games where the coaches were in the box, but I think it's more of they're now standing there with the coach and talking 4 or 5 minutes at a time. They don't want that happening anymore. They want the coach to be in the technical area and everyone else on the bench. And with that being said, to me, I would have one of the coaches to be my 4th official guy. You go mess with the 4th official and get sent to the stand, so I don't have to. So I would just have a watchdog for that, to get in his ear about things that I tell him to get in his ear about, where it's not going to be affecting me as a coach to be getting a card. That's how we're just getting around that. Next, crowding the referee.
Gray area that's going to have that abridged 3 months from now. It's coming to our attention.
Yes, yeah. So they said they're going to build it up as the season goes. They're not really giving warnings now, because I saw a lot of coaches still in there, 3 or 4 around the coach at a time. But they're going to slowly, as it progresses through the season, they're going to start clamping down on that.
Listen, they're going to find out your solution. They're going to start doing that. And then the next thing we know, we're going to have a player who's out for the season, who's going to be that new person chirping, sitting there with crutches going up to the 4th coach.
There we go. Now, this is probably my favorite rule. My favorite rule is this one. Crowding the referee. This has gotten so out of hand, man, when you got 5, 6 players on each team around the referee, bouncing into him and this and that. So, but the booking, so referees having the power to hand out cards to anyone who gets in their face. Period. That's it. You get in their face, they will hand you now a card. To me, I don't know why that wasn't done before. Because to me, anyone that gets in your face, why not just take the card and have it in your hand? Everybody would back away. To me, that was a very simple solution. I have the card in my hand. Are you still going to talk? Are you? To me, as a player, you would back away automatically. But now, someone getting in the referee's face, anyone that does it throughout the match will get a card. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I couldn't agree more. I think it should have always been something, and I hope this I hope this is better for the sport. I think that it will, take away from some of the players trying to be influential and dominant and dominate the referee.
Right.
I think that's something else to go along with that I'm loving that they're doing right now is the miking them up. They're doing it, I believe, in the French league, and I believe it's in the Women's World Cup at the moment. But they're also miking them up so where we can all hear what they're doing and what they're saying. And I think if that were to happen in the Premier League, to where you could hear what these players were saying as they crowded.
Yes.
I don't think they want people to know what they're saying.
No,
and I think that would also take a little bit away from it all.
Right.
But I love it. I think that it should be a thing. I think it needs to. It just slows the game down. It just makes it feel ugly.
Correct.
How it's not been. I mean, I think it's been a thing. I just don't ever think it was like obviously it wasn't written, but I always think it was like one of those unspoken things because we've seen it happen. We've seen them issue calls in the past for situations just as that. So it's not like we haven't seen it in the portal, but
right.
I think now that it's like, there officially that it hopefully it lessens it all. I mean, we'll see what it does, but I do agree with you. It's
and like you said, the flow of the game, man. It's all about because I never thought that referees should be a part of the game, but now you're making them a part of the game.
And again, I know he's no longer with us, but thankfully this wasn't exactly written before because I don't know if Shaka had any more red cards left in him.
I'm telling you.
Between that one, the fourth official with Arteta, woo!
Yes. I mean, serious business. You're right about that. So there's a little bit of the rules that we had there. So hope our viewers enjoyed that little segment there to kind of get your mind set of when you're watching a match. And as Cam said, they're not mic'd up, so you don't know why they're getting a card. Now you know the reasons why. You'll see more cards come out and to sort of shut the whole thing down about stopping play, stopping the flow of the play, giving an advantage to your team instead of giving an advantage to another team.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to touch base on that and appreciate your comments on that as well. So, all right, well, we're getting here and there to the end of the broadcast here. Wanted to bring up, I know you're the event planner for Arsenal. I didn't know if you had wanted to discuss anything about that as far as anything that's on your mind for the viewers to look out for or anything like that you wanted to add in because we're almost at the end here. So I'll let you take the floor and you can add any comments that you wish.
Yeah, of course. So for anyone who happened to be in Orlando last summer when Arsenal were here, all the bars and activities I helped put on and plan. It's going to be very, very similar. Got together with the heads of the other Florida chapters, and we were discussing honestly, since maybe spring of last season is when this really started taking effect, that we wanted to do something else again like that. We do it in New Orleans. There's one in Chicago. Texas has one. We wanted one for Florida. So we're recreating a very similar event in December. It's going to be big. It's going to be a 4-day event. Pretty big and fun stuff is on the itinerary. I can't really disclose everything right now, but I will say it will be very, very similar to last year. I will say this. It's going to be free. I'm very, very excited to announce that. Obviously, if you order a drink at the bar,
well, yeah, I mean, understand.
I will be there. I can see how that could come back at me. I'm going the record on that one. But I am very excited to announce that I was able to get this event free. Obviously, there's some fun stuff and charitable donations and things like that will be available for purchase. But it will be 100% free to come to every bar, come to every event, come to every activity. So with our awesome sponsorships and everything like that, we are happy to announce that there will be no cover and no initial fee.
Excellent, man. Thank you for that, man. Listen to that, folks. Get ready. What were the dates? What were the dates on that, Cam, please?
So everything's going to be a little bit fluid. And the main reason I kind of say that as of right now is we are thankfully in the Champions League. So as of right now, it's going to be December 7th through the 10th, which will be a Thursday through a Sunday. The reason why I say it's fluid is if our match is switched from Saturday to Sunday, then some of the events will be, obviously do compensate for that. But there will still be something on this the 10th on this Sunday, but it might not be as big. So plan on 7th through the 10th of December.
Excellent.
More exciting stuff to come.
And of course, if you're more than welcome to come back, talk about that at your leisure. We'd love to have you back to hear more about that. So as time progresses throughout, if you wouldn't mind coming back on, we would love to have you back on that to talk about that, and amongst not just that, but amongst other things, to have you back on.
So we could have probably gone for another 4 hours.
I'm telling you, I think we got through.
I just glanced up at the clock and I'm like, oh wow.
Yes, I think we only got through half of the things we wanted to even discuss. So definitely have to have you come back on so that we can discuss more. Definitely.
Absolutely.
But Cam, I appreciate you, man, this evening coming on. Thank you for those news, man. I'm excited, man. Folks, December 7th through the 10th, mark your calendars. Like you said, tentative dates based off of the games and the matches if we call for qualification, but mark your calendar right now, December 7th through 10th. Folks that are out of town that are Gunner fans as well, let them know, man. Come to Orlando, where it is going to be not 20 degrees during December. So head down south. We will have you anytime to support Orlando and to support Arsenal as well. Cam, appreciate your time, man. And thank you once again for coming on, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, so thank you. I'm just going to throw you into the back room now. So just bear with me a second here. All right, folks, that's our show for this evening. Hope you enjoyed it. Lots of information and exciting news about the Arsenal. Fan Fest, man. It's going to be awesome. Cam, man, I can't thank him enough, man. He gave us a lot of really, really good positive feedback on football, EPL. We talked about a lot of things tonight. So please do watch again. Send it to your friends and family as well. I think they'll learn a lot from tonight. And again, thank you all for the support. Thank you all for watching, and support football and anything that you're doing out there on the pitch. You got to affect the game. You know how we do it here. Affect the game. This is uppr90plus GB signing off. Have a great rest of your evening.